Hello, gorgeous, and thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and this is Hello, Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Our guest today is Paqui Kelly. Paqui is a two-time breast cancer survivor, co-founder and board president of the Kelly Cares Foundation, and wife of Notre Dame football head coach Brian Kelly. And she is a tireless advocate for health and wellness. One of 6 daughters, Paqui was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 2002 and again in 2007. After her second battle with cancer, Paqui and her husband Brian Kelly formed the Kelly Cares Foundation in 2008. While the foundation has a strong focus on breast cancer, it also advocates for education and community initiatives. To date, the foundation has distributed over $5 million to over 200 organizations and causes in 4 countries. A champion for communities, Paqui was named the 2017 Woman of Hope by the Bridge of Hope and the 2019 Exemplar Award by the Notre Dame Club of the Mid-Hudson Valley. Hi, Paqui, and welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking time out and for being a guest on our program. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be invited and had the opportunity to play in the golf outing last week and really enjoyed that as well.
Well, thank you so much. We kept missing each other. I was down on the course for a while, and then, they put me up in that big boom, which I didn't go very high.
Yeah.
It made me a little nervous. I thought the company that ran the boom was going to stay there. And when the golf pro said he'll take me up, I thought, your area is golf. Maybe this boom thing isn't the right thing for you. But
I know when I saw you up there, I said, I'm glad that's her and not me. That's what I thought.
Well, like I said, I got a little freaked out. They took it up off the ground and I'm like, okay, that's good. I think we can get a good shot from here to throw those golf balls out. So it's good. But thank you. Yeah, that was awesome to have you there. Thank you so much. So I'm so excited. I want to hear all about Kelly Cares Foundation, but in the beginning, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about your cancer diagnosis because, you are an inspiration. The fact that cancer touches, in 2017, it was over 800,000 women in the United States. And that didn't include the women that were diagnosed the year before. But the fact that your second battle was in 2007, and here you are 12 years later, that's an inspiration to me. And people need to hear that story because there are a lot of women that are experiencing the same things that you went through. And you can let them know, hey, it gets better. And, you get to go on and life does return to some sense of normalcy. Yep. So I want to know more about your cancer diagnosis. So how did you first discover that you had breast cancer?
So really, mine was kind of a backdoor discovery because my OBGYN, I had my last kid when I was 36, and I was a teacher at the time, and always scheduled my checkups, my annual checkups, like in the summer or Christmas break kind of thing. And he said, if you're done having kids, I would love you to have a mammogram before you're 40. And so it wasn't really anything pressing because at that point I'm only 36, right? And
right.
I said, okay. So, but I went ahead and, that was like in August. So I waited till December to schedule it so I wasn't missing any school. And so I'd go in there, and unfortunately, they find 2 very small cysts. And I'm like, don't meet any criteria to be even an at-risk cancer relative to my family history at that time.
Wow.
And so, don't worry about it kind of thing. And so we move forward, and he goes, if you think it's getting bigger, but we'll check in 6 months, Okay. They just thought it was, regular little cyst, not to be concerned. Okay, well, 4 months go by, and of course, like I'm a mom with 3 kids under the age of 5, and I say, yeah, I think it's getting bigger. So we get it checked out, and Brian and I just made a decision, like, why don't we just take it out and then we just stop worrying about it, right?
Right.
It really, we did a lumpectomy with our general practitioner, and it wasn't until the biopsy came back that I became a cancer patient.
Wow.
So in your head, like, oh, I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. It's out, everything's good, rock and roll. And then 2 weeks later, I think whatever it was, 10 days later, it wasn't so much that story, and then my journey began.
Wow.
So then, another set of, clean the margins kind of surgery, and then the chemo and radiation followed after that.
Wow. And then, so at that time you had 3 children under the age of 5?
Yep.
And so how did you tell the kids then that you had cancer?
I'm going to be honest with you. Brian and I we only had one kid he was in kindergarten, our oldest, and we decided not even to use the word cancer. And the reason was we were afraid he might get misunderstand, like, if they got grandkids, there's other kids that are 5 and who are grandparents that are passing away from cancer. If they just heard the cancer, he was going to be worried that I was going to be gone, so we were trying to alleviate that whole stress. And we caught it first stage. So, we really felt, we just told them I was going to take some medicine and my hair was going to fall out. And that's really all they kind of could understand at that juncture anyway. Right.
Right. So, right.
They just kind of, it was probably of all the kids, he remembers the most of that because he was older. And, I just, told him I'll wear a wig if you want me to at school if it bothers you. But he didn't really care. I just wore hats a lot.
Well, and that's what we found too. Period. Finding whatever looked normal to him. That's what he needed. Was he needed to see you that you looked normal. So tell me about the people. That's right. That it's going to be okay. That's exactly right. That's what he needed. That's what he needed to hear. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know about the people that you surrounded yourself with during your breast cancer journey. Did you have a lot of friends? Were you close to family during that time?
I was about 90 miles. I'll tell this story. So, we were in Grand Rapids or Allendale when we were at Grand Valley at that time. And Brian, we had been there for some amount of time at that point, probably 10 years or so, 15 years being in that community. And we had, well-established friends and groups of, support and whatnot. And they came out of the woodwork for us. And as well as, my teaching group. I mean, we had people from Muskegon bringing food over to us, which is about a 35-minute drive.
Wow.
And I'm like, we couldn't even begin to employ have everybody help us that wanted to help us. And so, that in itself is a blessing. And my sisters, they're, like I said, they're an hour and a half away. And I said, she's like, I just don't feel like we're doing anything to help. And I said, well, see, that's the thing. If you're helping me, then my, those are the people I was going to have to call if I had to get hospitalized after, during treatment for chemo. Some people's white blood, you get cold or sick.
That's right.
And you're in the hospital for 5-10 days. You just don't know. So
right.
So let's just pray that we don't really have to engage you to come up to help me, because that's what I kind of told her. I said, you're doing just what I need you to do.
That's right.
And so, but it, knock on wood, when I got it the second time, we were actually further away. We were in Cincinnati, and those same sisters ended up coming in, and I also had a double mastectomy at that juncture, and they came and stayed during their spring breaks and helped me get my kids through their spring breaks, for a stint of 3 weeks, between my sisters and my parents, helping out, staying at the house while I healed from that.
Right. And so with that second cancer diagnosis, did you ever ask, why me?
You know what? I think I'm a unique story in the fact that, so I went from being an anomaly because it really wasn't running in our family. And I'm the fourth of the kids, so you would have thought it would have shown up before, although the first 5 of us are within 5 years of each other. And I think the reason it kind of was, I would probably be deemed the healthiest at that juncture, still in good shape, exercising and whatnot, don't smoke, don't drink. And, like I said, no big markers to say, so that even the doctor's like, wow, I don't know what you're doing in here at 37. We don't know either, but we want to get it out of here, right? And
that's right.
So, Brian and I kind of hoped to check the box, we're done. And then I think it was in 2000. So I was diagnosed in 2003, and so my sister, who's 2 years older than, or 3 years older than me, was diagnosed in 2005.
Oh,
so
wow.
Basically now I have a direct person who's got it, and she's at that point 41, and I go from being, anomaly of 80 or 96% cured to probably an 85% chance that I'm going to get it again before a 5-year marker, because once she was tested for like the BRCA gene, then not the big surprise when I got tested, I was already had cancer once, and it wasn't a shock to say that that's why I probably had it at such an early age.
Wow.
So, I was a really high risk for getting it again. But, at that point, my youngest kid had only seen me being sick and healing, if you will. So I said to Brian, I said, I'm not ready I just got done with chemo. My body's just getting back from all of that. And I said, there's the statistics then were an 85% chance that I would get it before my 5-year marker. And I said, I'm going to go to my 5-year marker. If I don't make my 5-year marker, it's a really easy decision. And you know what? I didn't make my 5-year marker. Right. So as a patient, I know you want to say, I want to check the box. I don't want to walk away from this disease, but with the high risk that I was, and, I was getting checked every 6 months, either an MRI or a mammogram. And the type of cancers that I got were 2 different types of breast cancers, which, knock on wood, that's not a reoccurrence. It's 2 different types.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
One was hormone positive, and the first one was not hormone positive, and the second one was. So that was good news. But they're very fast developing cancers that I get, So I had a checkup in March. And by the time I checked in with my new doctor in 2007 down in September in Cincinnati, I was back in the saddle for being a cancer patient again. So,
wow.
My very first visit with her, she's like, I go, I already know. I know what that looks like. She was a great doctor. And, that's hard to meet your first patient the first time and have to tell them they got cancer again.
That's right.
But, they had great care and great, even though I was in a new place, again, those things come out. I would kind of sometimes tell the story as God gave it to me twice because I wasn't moving fast enough to get, involved, so once I got healed again, and took care of my health and, by that time we're ready, I'm feeling better. It took a little bit more to recover from a double vasectomy, obviously, but, we were just getting up and running. And then, Brian took a job here in South Bend at Notre Dame, and it seems like then it was like, oh yeah, we'll get all these kids up there and get the house and to do that, all that transition, and really kind of kick it off because we had started the paperwork in 2008, and then I got sick. So
wow.
It kind of was put on hold for about 18 months until we really kind of, as we were transitioning up here, said that that was probably what was supposed to happen.
Wow. And so what did you have to tell yourself to get through it a second time? What was there a mantra or something that you had that you just kept telling yourself?
My mantra would be the same as what I share when I share my story, is that if someone who is relatively healthy is able to get breast cancer, and the reality is, I'm going to be honest with you, if I would have waited till I was 40, I probably wouldn't be here.
Right, exactly
the type
right.
Of cancers and that would have been an easy thing to do, because at 36, 37 with 3 kids under the age of 5, my proponent is, do what you need to do to take care of you and your family. Mm-hmm. And you being around is important, is what I tell people,
That's right?
The mom.
That's right.
I said,
That's right.
If I would have waited, my diagnosis wouldn't have been first stage. You know what I mean? It would, and honestly, did I have to do chemo and radiation the first time? No, but the difference would have, if you're a mother of, 3 kids under 5, that was the difference between being 80% cured and 96% cured. I'll take that 16%.
That's right.
Those are the decisions people need to make and the information they need to get. And then, did I want to get it again? No, but, I think for me, the writing was on the wall. And it actually, I didn't feel bad about the second. I didn't want to have to go through it again, but the reality is, it really confirmed to me that the numbers and the statistics that they're giving me and to make decisions on are pretty accurate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not just a number in a book, and this is the numbers. And it's like, you know what, you said I wouldn't make 5 years, and I missed it by 3 months. So
that's right.
I share that with people. It's like, all of these things, people, if I'm 79 and they want to have me do that, that's one, those decisions and age and your lifestyle make a big difference on your decision on what you decide to do as far as treatment too. So
that's right. That's right.
But that's awesome. Again, both times very blessed. I thought the one in Cincinnati was special because here's people from Cincinnati, like literally some of them I had met one time, like when Dave Bryan got hired. And then hadn't really seen him because we didn't really move in, till April after our first spring break. I've been there less than 3 months, and these people are bringing over food, more food than 3 kids and me could eat. But, I'm very grateful, and not what you'd call just a skip around town. I mean, it was half an hour drive right from campus. I don't even know where all of them all lived, in that city that's a little bigger, but they were a wonderful support. And, those are the things that, Brian would say, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, honey, you have no idea how good we're doing, because we had such a great support of people. And as I'm sitting there with chemo, and there's people that are, I'm probably more by myself by choice, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Other people are trying to be supportive of their spouses and stuff, but other ones are at home watching kids. And I mean, all those things were taken care of for me. And I wasn't worried about any bill or do I get my kids asthma medicine or do I go to chemo? There are people that are struggling with those kind of issues. And I said, we're doing okay.
That's right.
We really
That's
are,
right. That's right. All things considered, we're doing okay.
Yeah. Yep. This is just a little speed bump in our little road. You just, like anything else, when something happens, whether it's cancer or, some kind of, accident or something, and you have to start with rehab or something of that, rehabilitation and trying to get your leg working or arm working again, you just have to stop and make a plan and go with that. And, I was really blessed that I didn't have any major complications, even with my surgeries or, chemo and all that stuff. I did pretty good.
That's right. Well, and I think about too, even where your children are concerned, it's what did you teach them through that? You look at, they watched you kind of champion through this whole diagnosis where, you had a mantra, you stuck to it, you were supported by people. You think about that, like I can't even imagine what you've set them up for by working your way through this as positively as you did.
Well, the other piece of that is, and I wasn't out there I am generally a pretty positive, what do I say? I call myself a positive realist. I'm not, hey, the sun's always going to shine, the kind of gal, but it might come out, there's a chance. That's probably who I am, but, I try to tell people, like I'm one of those silver lining. I can always find a silver lining, but I think in the end, one of my best stories that I share is when I was at Cincinnati, and you have to remember, really, we weren't that well known in the area because we had just gotten there. And so I'm here helping Gracie and being the brownie mom, which if anyone knows me, that's kind of funny that I'm the brownie mom because not very crafty and I can't cook, any of that stuff. But I'm a cheerleader, a good cheerleader. But they, one of the kids came up shortly after, by then my hair's short. And so kids saw me. All my kids were there. It wasn't like I wasn't involved in school, I just kind of told them my hair's going to fall, but I'm going to be okay. And shortly after, my hair's growing back, another mom got diagnosed. And one of the first graders, one of the moms told me the story. This little boy said, it's okay. Mrs. Smith is going to be fine because just like Mrs. Kelly, her hair is going to fall out, but she's going to be good, And so it wasn't, that first grade boy said that to another first grade boy. Then they learned it's not as scary, you know what I mean? And
yes,
that it's, it's not something that you don't, talk about, it's okay,
That's right.
And that's what you want. I want everybody, you can go back 25 years and no one was having, save second base T-shirts made for an outing.
That's right.
And it was just,
that's right.
Bring everybody into it instead of just, the moms and the sisters, the dads and the brothers, they all want to get involved too to help. So,
But I think that so many times they want to help, but they don't know what to say. That's what we have found so much with our program. I always say the reveal party at the end after she gets the makeover, it's bringing all of these people back to her that see her looking normal because, they are afraid when they see you without hair. They are afraid if they see you in a wig and it's not, it doesn't look like you and they don't know what to say. So they say nothing and stay away. I see so many times.
Right.
And so the approach that you took with everything, I think was just very positive. Even again, just setting an example for not only your children, but the children that your kids were around in school. I think that's awesome. And myself and you kind of have lived that too. So, it's 2 years next week that I lost my husband. And, I try and tell my son, hey, it really is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Yes.
And that's the truth, because and you are a prime example of that, because you could have just shut yourself up in your room and never left the house, but you chose. It's a choice, because God gave us free
Yep.
will. So you chose
Right.
to walk outside and make sure that your life was as normal as possible, and that your
Mm-hmm.
kids' life was as normal as possible. And I think that's awesome. And like I said, the example that you set for your children, it'll be interesting to see how they look back on that experience with you being diagnosed and say, you know what, well, my mom did it, so there's no reason why I can't do it.
Right. Now, I to share an honest story with, listeners, I'm not the most vain person. And when I will tell you, like, when the first time going through, I lost my hair and I looked, I'm like, the nice part is it does not take long to get ready. I can see why guys with very little hair, but
Right.
I'm also a person who walks really fast. And my dad was bald, so I basically look like, a young Tom Craig, I guess. So I go, I'm definitely my dad's daughter when I don't have any hair. But I found that if you walk fast, you create a draft, and you never feel that when you have hair. I never did until I'm like, I got to have a hat on. I'm creating a draft on myself. But I did, and like you said, it doesn't make people are uncomfortable. Sometimes they don't know. One of the best, honest and earnest compliments I ever got was at a coaching convention, and a lady who did not know me came up to me. I had a cocktail dress on, and my hair was short, because it was just coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And she came over. She goes, and there's a lot of people who would never wear it. That looks awesome on you. You know what I mean? And I said, well, thank you. And I said, of course, she didn't know. And so, unfortunately, somebody told her, and she came back later in the evening. She said, I am so sorry. I said, why would you be sorry? You gave me an earnest compliment saying,
Yes.
like, I like the fact that you've got that chic, short haircut. But,
Right.
It's my haircut for right now, too. So,
Right.
So it's like, and then I know why she felt bad, because I'm sick, right? But the reality is her true compliment was really true.
That's right.
It was from the source. But I mean, we had other stories, but I remember looking in the mirror that one day and thought, gosh, if that sets me back a little bit, the people that get ready and like that finished look every day, this would be hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that you guys do. That's my normalcy was just, like, it was hard for me not to work, So
Mm-hmm.
Brian's like, I'll go to these things. I go, honey, I don't want you to sit and watch me fall asleep at chemo.
Right.
And I laugh about this statement, but it really was, I think it was hard for him. I made him come to all the surgeries and stuff, but some of the other stuff I had other people fill in, because his job being normal that was the one part of my life that was still normal.
That's right.
Does that make
That's right.
like,
yes, it makes
you
perfect
try and
sense.
find that control factor.
Yes.
I go, do you understand? He's like, I'll do whatever you want me to do, honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that, and that's different for everybody.
That's
Some
right.
people, but that for me was like, I don't get to work right now. I get to hang out with my kids for a couple weeks feeling good, and then I don't feel good on chemo week. So it was an experience in itself that way. But it got me through the 6 or 7 months between the surgeries, the chemo, and the radiation. That I knew his kind of schedule.
That's right. And his schedule was normal. Like you said, you control the things that you can control,
Right.
That's right.
That it gives you that false, it's really a falsehood in the end, because if anyone knows anything about his schedule, it's it's kind of crazy.
That's right. That's right.
That's why
That's
it's
right.
kind of a funny irony to that, but
that's right.
But it helped me get there, So
Yes.
And you just have to find what those pathways are going to that'll work for you.
That's right. That's right. Well, we are almost out of time. We've got like 30 seconds. What would you tell somebody, just a quick phrase of someone that was newly diagnosed with cancer? Like, what would be your cheerlead or your cheer for them?
Well, my one advice would be is make sure you have somebody with you at doctor's appointments every time, especially initially going through when it's something new. If it's the oncologist or the radiologist, always take someone with you, because I always found that what I heard and what Brian heard were not always the same things.
That's right.
They said it all, but what you take away is different
Your
from a different
interpretation.
perspective.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. And and there's so much information, you won't get it all. And then 2 is feel comfortable with let it sink in. Let it sink in, and before you don't make any knee-jerk reactions.
Yes.
And collect information and see how that's going to, and keep asking questions.
Right.
It'll only lower your stress, because I think that was probably the one thing I think I was blessed with and didn't realize at the time is how, the people that were speaking to us, and I do have a little bit of a science background, so maybe that helped me, but it seems so foreign to some people. I just don't know what all that is. And
that's right.
I said, you know what? Just keep asking questions, and they'll find a way to. I find the people in oncology, and they're very special people. And I was, like I said, I was treated in 3 or 4 different cities, and
that's
continue
right.
to get that good quality care, whether it be checkups now or treatment. So I've been very blessed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We didn't even get to touch on Kelly Cares Foundation, so I would love to invite you back to come back and be another guest on our show and talk about all the good work that you do.
Well, I appreciate that.
That'd be great. Yeah, I would love to have you back again, because we have so much more to talk about. But thank you so much for being with us today. If you have any questions or comments, or would like to know more about the guests on our show or more about Hello Gorgeous, feel free to contact me at kbecker@hellogorgeous.org or visit our website at www.hellogorgeous.org. Thank you for joining me today on Hello Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and until next time, stay gorgeous.
Another beautiful day, walking in the sunshine, spending the time with you. Last night we had a good time, dancing in the moonlight and loving the night away. I can't imagine what it'd be like. I can't imagine what it'd be like. I can't imagine what it'd be like without you. I can't imagine that.